welcome to Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show!
Good day and welcome back to this new edition of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. Today we'll be talking about the biggest box office bombs of 2023. In other words, the least grossing movies of the year at the box office. But before we begin, please you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content from Sir-Kenneth. Okay, before we get into our list of, box office flops, I would like to throw some light on a few movies that actually did well this year. Well, last year, 2023. And number one is Barbie, that grossed over $1.4 billion. Super Mario, the cartoon, grossed over $1.3 billion. Oppenheimer, grossed over $900 million. Into Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, grossed over $600 million. So those are a few movies that actually performed really well at the box office last year. And and I think it's worth noting that Barbie is like the highest grossing Warner Bros. Movie, as it out-earned Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows 2, which grossed I think 1.3 billion at the box office. But anyway, let's get into our list of the day of box office flops. At number one, we have The Marvels. The Marvels is a Marvel movie, if I'm not mistaken, and the budget for this movie was $274.8 million, but it only grossed $197.9 million at the box office. That was really, really bad. I don't know why it didn't perform. I don't know why it performed really poorly. People say it's because the lead actors were women, so the heroes were women. So I don't know, it's some sort of sexist, kind of misogynistic, kind of, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not really certain if that's the reason why it didn't perform well. But the movie didn't perform well at all. Really, really did not perform well at all. It's a superhero movie. I'm one who doesn't really like superhero movies, so I don't know. It didn't perform well. The next movie at number 2, we have The Flash. The Flash. I've spoken about The Flash several times on my show, and the disappointments everyone was having about this movie. Like, everyone I know who saw this movie was really pissed about it because it was not giving what it was supposed to give. I don't know. The budget for this movie was $220 million, and it grossed $270.6 million at the box office. Some people might say, okay, it grossed more than a high amount than the budget, but actually, in the budget, the marketing, the money for marketing isn't included in the budget for the movie. So if we're to include that into the budget, we're going to be dealing with something like $300 million altogether. Yeah, because this studio spent a lot on marketing. Okay, so it grossed only $270.6 million at the box office. Okay, and there are a lot of factors that might have contributed to this. I mean, I heard the main actor Ezra Miller was having a lot of issues with the law and things like that. And on top of that, the movie wasn't really all that great. Okay, because the CGI was terrible, the storyline, it had no depth. So the movie really did not perform well. It really did not perform well. At number 3 on my list is Renfield. Renfield, actually, I haven't seen this movie, but it stars Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage. I never knew Nicolas Cage was still very active in Hollywood, okay, because he's like one of the oldest actors in the industry that I know of. I've been watching Nicolas Cage. I watched him first in movies when I was a kid, and those movies were already old back then. And today he's still in the industry. I mean, that's really, really impressive. So the budget for this movie Renfield was $65 million, and he only grossed $26.4 million at the box office. It was really, really, really bad. I mean, just the budget for it was 65. That's without counting marketing and all whatnot. It still could not even cover the budget. It still couldn't gross up to the budget they spent for this movie. So it was really, really a flop. The movie really tanked. I mean, $26.4 million. That's all it could gross against a budget of $65 million. I mean, that's a huge loss. A huge, huge, huge loss. The next movie on my list is actually a Disney animated movie. It's called Wish. Wish is a cartoon that stars Academy Award winner Ariana DeBose as the lead character in this animated movie. Seriously, I don't know why this movie performed well. It's been a really tough year for Disney, okay, because I don't know if they've released any movie that really performed like really well at the box office throughout the past year. I'm sure just apart from the Little Mermaid, I don't think they released any other movie that, did numbers at the box office in the past year. It's really, really sad. I think uh, Marvel movies are distributed by Disney, if I'm not mistaken. So Disney has been a really tough year for Disney. So the budget for Wish was $200 million and it grossed $225 million at the box office. Like I said, the $200 million is not counting the budget for marketing and all whatnot. So you can include all of that. It's a tank, it's a flop at the box office. It really, really is a flop. I haven't seen this movie, but I heard the writers and producers, well, the team that worked on Wish is the same team that worked on Frozen, and Frozen is actually one of Disney's biggest hits. So I don't get why this one didn't perform as well as Frozen. It's really, really sad. Okay. Anyway, moving forward to our next movie. The next movie on my list is D&D, Honor Among Thieves. I haven't seen this movie, but it stars Regé-Jean Page from Bridgerton. The budget for this movie was $150 million, and it only grossed $208.2 million at the box office. The thing with most of these movies, when you're shooting a big budget movie with over $100 million at the box office, you're aiming for at least $500 million at box office gross. That's when you have a budget for $100 million, $200 million. You are expecting to double and triple these numbers at the box office. But when you do a movie with a $150 million budget and you only gross $200 million, it's a flop. It is a flop, and it's really, really sad. I haven't seen this movie, but I saw the trailer. It seems fun. It seems interesting. I don't know why it didn't perform well at the box office. Anyway, it wasn't in theaters in my country, so I don't know why. But yeah, so D&D Honor Among Thieves, it didn't perform well at the box office. Yeah. At number 6, we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I've spoken about Shazam before on my show, and I saw that movie and I really enjoyed the movie, and it's a shame that it didn't perform well. I think it's a DC movie. The budget for this movie was $125 million, but it only grossed $133.9 million at the box office. It's been a tough year for superheroes. It's been a really, really tough year for superheroes. I mean, it's not. I mean, because like I said already, when you have a $125 million budget for a movie, you're expecting to quadruple or quadruple. I don't know what the term is, but you're expecting to make 10 times more than what you've invested in this movie. Normally, in the past, superhero movies, they always gross like at least 700-800 million at the box office. I think that's what they were aiming for with these movies. I mean, if you look at all the Avengers movies, most of them are above $1 billion at the box office. Black Panther, the same. So when you shoot a superhero movie and you have this kind of budget, you're expecting to do big numbers at the box office. But when you do 133.9, I mean, it's the high chances that if there was supposed to be a sequel to this movie, the studio might not continue because, this one didn't perform really, really well at the box office. So yes, that's it, Shazam Fury of the Gods, and it's a real shame because I actually did enjoy that movie and it didn't perform well. I think it's DC or Marvel, DC, one of the two, but I'm pretty sure it's DC. Yeah. So the next movie on my list is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The budget for this movie was $300 million. $300 million. When you do a movie with that kind of budget, you're expected to do at least $1 billion at the box office. However, unfortunately, this movie only grossed up to $383.9 million at the box office. Like I said, you know what? I don't know what the deal is, okay? Because this year has been a really tough year for most movies at the box office, especially big budget movies. Most of the big budget movies didn't perform really well at the box office, and it's really, I don't know, it's something we should worry about. I don't know why. It's never been like that before. Even right after COVID, there are a lot of movies that did perform well after COVID, but this is 4 years after the pandemic, yet movies are still having troubles at the box office. I don't know what the issue is, but some questions need to be answered. So yeah, the next movie on my list is The Covenant. The Covenant, I haven't seen the movie, but the budget for this movie was $55 million, and it only grossed $21.6 million at the box office. So this is a complete tank. It tanked completely. I don't know, $55 million. That's not a lot of, as compared to the other big budget movies. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of money, but it's still a loss because it didn't even gross up to half of what was invested on this movie. So it's a real disappointment for the studio and whoever produced this movie. It's really sad. So the next movie on my list is 65. 65. Now I haven't seen this movie, but the budget for this movie was $45 million. $45 million, and it grossed $60.7 million at the box office. It's true, it's not as bad as The Covenant, but it's still considered a flop because it couldn't even double the budget invested for this movie. So it's a real sad situation. It's a sad situation for most of the movies on this list. 65. I don't know, though the title isn't even really captivating, so it's not something I would like to check out. Yeah. Okay, so the last but definitely not least movie on my list is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. So it's really funny because this movie is actually among the top 10 highest grossing movies of the year 2023, but I don't know why it's considered a flop. The budget for this movie was $291 million, and it grossed $567.5 million at the box office. Well, rumor has it that the budget was initially 300, but it was they were shooting this movie around the time around the COVID era. And after they had to shut down production, they still had to pay people, actors, producers, cameramen, like all whatnot. So that it actually cost them a little more than 291 million, and they're saying that $567.5 million at the box office was still a flop for this movie because the budget was huge. It was really huge. So I don't know why it's considered a flop, but I saw it on TV. I think it's a great movie. Tom Cruise, phenomenal as always, but I don't know why it didn't perform really well. I think it was overshadowed by Oppenheimer and Barbie because it came out like 1 week or two after Mission. Those two movies came out like a week or two after Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. So I don't know. And since it's Part 1, meaning there was obviously going to be Part 2. So I don't know if that's going to happen, given the results at the box office. But anyway, I really do hope they are able to do something about it. The studio is still, I hope the studio will still release the second part of it. Yeah, so that's it about so those were the 10 biggest bombs at the box office of the year 2023. Okay, so I would like to really talk real quick about The Color Purple. The Color Purple actually is still in theaters. It came out December 25th in the US, and in January it has been released in theaters worldwide. So The Color Purple is actually struggling at the box office. Okay, people are blaming one of the actresses on the movie, Taraji P. Henson, because if those of you who aren't familiar with the fiasco, during the press run for The Color Purple, that was sometime late last year, around November, December, the actress Taraji was complaining about unfair pay in Hollywood, like the difficulties black actors and actresses most especially face in Hollywood with underpayment, and even when they film, when they're on set, they face a lot of difficulties in their trailers and everything. They have little or no food at all. So she was really venting about this during the press run for The Color Purple. So many people felt like that was her experience in The Color Purple movie, and they were like, okay, if she went through that while shooting that movie, then there is no need for us to go support the movie if they're not going to pay our actresses right. So the movie is really struggling at the box office. It had a big budget too. I think the budget was $100 million, and so far it has grossed $54 million at the box office. Well, it's still in theaters. So I don't really. It's coming to theaters in Cameroon, like I think next week. So I don't know. Let's do hope that the movie performs well. as before it leaves theaters. Yeah. So people are blaming this actress for this poor performance, and people also blaming one of the executive producers, Oprah Winfrey, who has been a major, who has played a major role in the movie The Color Purple as executive producer. Because for those of you who don't know, this is actually a remake, some sort of remake or adaptation of musical adaptation of the movie, because the original movie came out in 1985, and it starred big names like Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, and Danny Glover, not Donald, Danny Glover. Yeah, so those were the main actors in the 1985 version, and this new version, this musical adaptation, stars the likes of Fantasia Barrino, Taraji P. Henson, Coleman Domingo, and several others, Halle Bailey. I mean, the list it's star-studded actually, but it's surprising that in spite of all these big names, the movie is still struggling at the box office. So I don't know, let's really do hope it performs well, because it's an all-black cast, and I'm always down to support everything black. So yeah, so that's it for today. That's it for the list of that's it for today's episode. Thank you for staying tuned to Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. I hope you did enjoy today's episode. Until then, please stay tuned, and see you next time for another episode of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. Stay blessed. Peace.